Hello, it's Kat here from Jolly Gem Journals. Welcome back to my channel and thank you for joining me. Firstly, I would like to say a huge thank you to you all out there for supporting my last video that I put up on my health and wellness journal. It's been very well received, and as a result I've had a couple of people request some tutorials on how to do certain things. So I thought, being the times that we're in, that you know, perhaps we're all having a bit of a focus on our health and wellness during these pandemic times. So I'm going to do a quick well, I don't know how long this will take, I'll make it as quick as I can, but I'm going to do a tutorial on how to make this journal cover. It's not going to be exactly the same, but the idea is that you'll be able to make this if you would like, and just the way I have made it so that it opens up like this. So I'm just going to show you how I went about doing that, and my ideas as well were I would do a little series where we would make a journal, a health and wellness journal together, and then I was thinking I might do some journal prompts, just a few journal prompt videos, and we can do a little journal with me session as well, just because I think a lot of us, you know, it will kind of kill two birds with one stone. Some people don't know how to use their journals once they've made them, so you can get in the habit of writing in a journal. And two, I think a lot of us are turning to our journals during these times because journaling is such a great way to just deal with anxiety, wellness, just gentle, you know, gratefulness, just gratitude, the whole lot. So that was my thinking. So let's get into it without any more babble, because let's get to the good stuff. Okay, so you're going to need to get yourself a cereal box. So I'm going to use a Carmen's cereal box. I'll give you the measurements. It is 16 centimeters wide, and it is 24 centimeters high, and it is yeah, about 5 centimeters, and that will be your spine. Now, you don't have to have exactly the same measurements. You can get any cereal box that you like, and you can just adapt your measurements to whatever your box dimensions are. But this is what I'm going to use, because I find this a good size. You can hold it in your hand, and it's big, and it's certainly wide, so you can fill it up with lots of, you know, recipes, notes, catalogues, whatever you want to do. So the first step is, now you're going to need a cereal box, but then you're going to need either a second cereal box or, you know, just a little bit of card. Now you're just going to have to make sure it's the same thickness, because we're going to be attaching them together. So yeah, you'd want them as reasonably close in, you know, thickness as possible. So I will be back in a second as I cut down the box. Okay, so I've got my cereal box, which I have opened all the flaps. So I've opened the top and the bottom, and then I've pulled apart the side. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut all these edges off so that we just get the base of the actual book. So I'm just going to do that with my scissors, and then I might get my paper trimmer up and neaten the edges. We'll see how we go. Okay, so I've cut that bit out now. So now we've got our spine, and we've got our front, and we've got our back. So now what we need is to make the little flap that comes over the top here. So I've got this second cereal box here. So what we need to do is cut this bit here, so another spine bit. The only problem with this is that this is this is 4 centimeters, and this is 5.2. No, it's 5.5. So that's okay. What I'll do is I'll cut a piece, and I'm just going to have to score it on my score board. But if you had 2 boxes of cereal that were exactly the same, you wouldn't have to do this. So I think if I just make a mark, okay, so I have got my front and my spine and then my back, and now I've got a second piece of card. So we just need to make sure that it's the same height, which it is there. So I might just roughly cut that so that it's more at a 90-degree angle, because it looks a little bit wonky to me. So okay, so now what I want to do, now if you don't have a score pad, you can skip this step by just simply having 2 boxes exactly the same size. I've had to take this extra step because my spine on the other cardboard, on the second cardboard box, was not the same, and we are going to need to have the spine on this side and then the spine on this side. We need them to be the same. What we will be doing is we will be joining this like that, and I'll make a score mark here. I'll just measure across, so it will need to be 5.5 centimeters. So I will just measure that now. We will join that together, and now what we need to do is just make that about 5 centimeters as well, or you can make that as wide as you like, but I'm going to make it, yeah, I might make it about 5.5 centimeters again. Okay, so now what we're left with is we've got our front, spine, back, and now we've got this piece here. So this will come up like that. And the way we attach it is I've got some packing tape or masking tape. What my purpose is that I want you guys to do this with, you know, materials and tools that you've already got on hand. I don't want you to go out and buy, you know, specialized craft equipment, you know, because you feel that you need to do that. You can make a beautiful journal just of stuff you've got around the home. You don't need to go out and, you know, buy fancy things. You can go to op shops and pick up things. So I'm just going to line those up together like that and fold that over. I'll just trim that because that was a bit of a fold line that I put down in the tape. because we're going to be covering this with fabric and glue. So this is going to become very sturdy. This is really just to hold this in place while we're working with it. So I'll just come along and just attach this side just to give it a little bit more security. And look, I didn't get that perfect, but as I say, it doesn't matter because we can flatten it down. And it's going to get covered up anyway, so I'm just going to, it's got an air bubble in there, just going to flatten that down as much as I can. Just so that when we do cover it with the fabric, that we don't see that. Just work those bubbles out. Or you can always just get a little craft knife and just pierce it, or you know, get the scissors and pierce the bubble. So just burnish that down. Okay, so there we have that. So that's what we've got. We've got that. So now what we need to do is we need to cover it with some fabric and we need to decorate. Okay, so I want to talk about where we're going to get our materials from. So we want to decorate the cover and we want to get a nice focal point. So it can be whatever you want it to be. You might already have something in mind, something that speaks to you about health and wellness. But some ideas I can give you is you can, you know, go through your Daphne diaries. I saw this after I had already selected an image and I thought, gee, that would be nice. These are some pretty flowers, but you've got some lemon limes there, you've got some oranges or tangerines or something there, you've got some nice little cherry blossoms, or I'm not sure what they are, but yeah, you've got some passion fruit there, some pears, some nice apples, and you know, beautiful matte paper and beautiful decoration. So you can look through your Daphne diaries there, and even I love the writing, the handwriting that they have in there. You know, this is going to be for your personal use, so you can use this definitely. So you can use that as background paper, and then they always have bits of decorating paper, so that's definitely one very, very good idea that you can use there. So I have some yoga magazines and I went through these and found some nice images there that I ended up using. So exercise magazines, or you know, you can go into the op shops and I just wanted to show this because I thought maybe I could get something out of this book, but it's a lovely book anyway. But then when I saw her eyes, I thought, no, I think that looks a little bit weird. I had to laugh on that one. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking there, but I'm thinking, no, look at that one. Look at her eyes. Anyway, so that's talking about where you could get your sources for your images. So what I did, if I can find where I put them, so I ended up going with this because I really liked the orange, and I like the idea of having like a smoothie drink, or you know, a healthy drink, great for hydration. And then I liked the words here, pure natural healing, but your focus could be, you know, meditation, it could be crystal learning, essential oils, naturopath, it could be anything. So I went through and, you know, and it doesn't matter how much fabric you've got, you've never got quite the right colour tones, I find. So I went through my substantial collection of fabrics and I ended up pulling this out because I liked the the texture of this material, and I thought it went nicely with that. And I found this material as well, so I'm not sure if I'll use this, but I thought somehow I might try and incorporate this. And then I found some trim, which I thought might go in nicely with this. Then I found this, I believe, is exactly the same fabric that I used in my first journal, because it looks very, very similar, but I used that for the background there and for the pen label. So I thought, all right, we'll look at that. Now, some other ideas that I thought for decorating were, I found some doilies, because I was going to use lace, but I realized that my lace is exactly the same color as this fabric, so that might not work well. And then I found this, so I'm not sure how we're going to incorporate all this, but that's what I've pulled out. I also just pulled out some of that. I thought that might come in handy. And some of the other things that I've got on hand, I've just found this, which I think I bought a top from an op shop, and I just I unpicked the flowers, so I thought maybe that. I've got some cheesecloth here, which I thought might be good. I've got some of the butterfly appliques. Isn't it funny, like when you do on tape doing a video, how your words escape you? And yeah, I've got some of this flower applique as well, and I've got some wide bits of lace, so we'll see how we go. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unfold my fabric, and I'm going to measure it. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave about, I guess that would be a couple of inches, maybe an inch and a half. If I get my, yeah, it's about 2.5 inches is an inch, so I would say maybe a couple of inches or an inch and a half, or yeah, probably about 4 centimeters. I would leave around the edges, because we want to fold it in. We can always trim it back if we need to, but I would rather have more and cut it down than have not enough and then be stuck. So I will be back with my pieces of fabric, and we will glue the fabric onto the cover. Okay, so I've cut my fabric down to size now, leaving a little bit of a border. So now what we're going to do is we're going to attach the fabric to the cereal box cover. So what I'm going to do is turn it over, and now I'm just going to put this outside for a moment, and we'll talk about glues. So I've brought out some tacky glue, which would be good to use. I find this a thicker glue, and it's ultra strong. Well, it's not in English. Hobbies and household repairs. Anyway, I have used this before. This is good. Of course, the other one that I do like to use is the fabric glue. So I think in America it's Fabri-Tac, but over here in Australia, and I don't know, I've seen, I think you can get this glue. It's Helmar's fabric glue. The only thing I would say is that you want a glue that is good for fabric. So I'm going to use the tacky glue because I've used it before, and it's quite good. So my supplies haven't been used for a few months, so I'm hoping everything will be okay. So basically all I do is get it going, and I just drizzle it up and down. Now you could just use your fingers, or you could get a credit card. Then we'll get our fabric and we will just place our fabric, turn it over and just straighten that up. Oops. So I'll turn it back around again. So what we want to do is we just want to make sure that we can fold it back over. Okay, and it's got no wrinkles or anything like that. That's looking pretty good. So I'll just snip away all the little threads. Then what you want to do is you want to miter the corners so that when we fold it up we won't have a big thick lot of fabric, because this is pretty thick, this fabric anyway. So now when I do it I cut, but I sort of leave about 1 millimetre or a couple of millimetres, or 1/8 of an inch I guess you could say if you're in inches, and I just sort of leave it like that. I'll just explain why I do that when we come to turning it up. Okay, so I've cut all my bits out, my corners off. So now what we want to do is we want to fold this up. But what I do with the corners, now this is where I might use the fabric glue, because this is a bit faster drying. Get all the glue off my fingers. So I just place a little dollop there in the corner, and then I fold in with my fingernail just that little bit of fabric there. And just hold that there. I might just come across here. I think if you can work the corners and get nice, clean, sharp corners, I think that makes all the difference to your journals. It's worth paying that little bit of extra attention, I think. Makes a nicer finish. So then I fold that in, making sure that I've got my edges nice and sharp. I'm so used to putting the caps on because that glue, when it gets towards the end, it bubbles over. So on all my glue, I just sort of tend to put the caps back on. Okay, so I'm just going to fold that up like that. And I just press in my edges. And I'll do the same in this corner here. Put the dollop of glue there. Now the glue's dried, so we'll do it again. So I put a dollop of glue, and then with my fingernail I just fold it over and just hold that there until it dries. Don't be impatient, because you're going to have this book for a long time, so if you just take that little bit of extra time while you're making it, you'll just look at it and you'll appreciate it. But if you hurry it and then you see a little bit of the cardboard poking through, or it's not quite finished off nicely, I mean, you can get around it, you can put book corners on it if you want, but yeah, I just think take that little bit of extra time and then it's done. Go there. Of course, always battling with the glue, getting all over your fingers. There we have it. So now we've got our journal there. The beginnings of coming together. So what we will end up doing is we will get some scrapbook paper and we will end up cutting out and covering the inside bit, but I just want to work on this cover now. So now's the fun bit. Now is how we decide to put this all together. So I was thinking maybe doing something like this. Okay, so I thought that would be a bit helpful to do that, just to keep it in shape while we're trying to decide on how to decorate the cover. So I was thinking maybe do something like that. Okay, I wanted to talk about what I have done so far because I did some filming and I lost it, so I have to redo this little bit again. I have cut the trim, and what I've used is this temporary adhesive for fabrics and papers. I got this from a craft scrapbooking store. So it's just a adhesive spray in a spray can, spray on the fabric, and then I can use it to tack down whatever it is that I'm working with. So that's what I've done. I've done the back, the spine and the front, and I've lifted up under here and I've tucked it under there as well, the trim. So I'm still liking this idea. I'm trying to work out which is the right way, because that looks like a little crown. Not that you'll actually see it, but I'm thinking that's the right way. So I think I'll just tack that on now. Just gives you a better way of fixing things down so that when you stitch, everything's in place. I think it's a wonderful idea. I picked it up off YouTube when I first started out. Someone was showing that and I went, oh, is that how you do it? So I'll just do the front. And that way you can move it around as well if you need to. If you're not happy with how things are sitting, you can pick it up and just move it. So I just do that bit there. Okay, so I've got that on. Just helps to give an idea of how it's going to look. Now I was playing around with this and I do like it, but I'm thinking that it needs to have something on the background. So what I've done is I've just taken another piece of that card and I've torn out a bit of the Daphne diary paper and I'm going to cut that and just line that piece of paper with it. So I'm just going to put that there because if you read the story, it's actually about a little bit of self-care, so I thought that was quite appropriate. So, okay, I will now have a play around and see. Okay, this is what I call my hardware. I've got a few of these and they're a great way of storing all your hardware. Okay, so not really what I was going for actually. What I was thinking was something along the lines. Well, you can do live the life you've imagined. That would look good. That's the same one that I've actually got on mine. I think it looks nice just with that actually, and that's what I was going for. I just got a bit distracted. So yeah, I think that will be great. Okay guys, it's the next evening and I have done a little bit more work on the cover here with the decoration. So I'm going to quickly talk you through what I have done. I distressed the edge and then I Mod Podged and then I put the 3 layers down and then I sewed around the edge. I glued on, you know, whatever little embellishments up there. I glued the burlap down, then I glued down the little word banner, live the life you've imagined. I got an awl or a pokey tool and I poked a hole here and a hole here, and then I pressed the brads through and then obviously turned it upside down, and then I split the brads and then I glued that down, and then I put glue on the back of this whole board with the images on it, and then I glued it down and then I sewed the whole lot down on the cover. So that's actually been sewed twice. So that's how I did it. So now pretty much what we've got left to do is add the little pen loop. So there's nothing fancy about how I do this. Just get a pen and I work out, you know, so if I cut across here and just fold, so I'm just going to move this out the way. So you can measure this if you want, but I just go by just the length of the pen. And then we just want to straighten up the edge. So what I would do is, I mean, if you had a, and I have dressmaking pencil, but I reckon the width of this ruler would be a good width. And then just to get a 90-degree angle, okay, so that's 4 centimeters. That's 4 centimeters. So just like such a fraction, I wouldn't worry about it. Okay, so I will now cut that out. Okay, and then I can just do it like that. So now what I'll do is I will sew around, but what I do is as I sew, I have my pen. I put my pen in it and I sew around. So I sew that edge and I sew that, and then I just keep the pen in there and then I sew there. So then that way I've just got enough room to pop it in. So I will be back. Okay, so I've sewed that around. So as you can see, there's now a little pen loop just in the edge here, and it can, you know, take a big chunky pen, or it can take whatever size pen that you want. Now actually what I did do is I did fold down that edge there, so just to give it a neat edge. And I didn't like this, it's a little bit rough. I could get the scissors and trim it down, but what I thought I would do is just get some of this bric-a-brac that I've got, and I thought that looked quite effective actually. So you could do something like that, or you could put lace if you wanted, but I just thought that it looked all right. So I'm just going to glue that down now. We've done our cover out of our cereal box. The only other thing I was thinking is possibly I might run some of that down the edge like that, and I think that would look quite good. So I'm going to do that off camera because I think you get the idea. So this concludes this first part of the tutorial. I hope you followed along okay. What I'm thinking I'll do is I will do a blog to accompany this. It might take me a couple of weeks to get that together, but I know that I did probably cut a few steps out and did it off film. This was quite a bit more involved than what I thought. Not that the journal itself, the cover is difficult to make, but just the filming of it. So I think hopefully you will understand any steps. Please comment in the comments below if you need me to clarify anything, but I think that's what I'll do. I think I will knock up another one. And guys, I will say that I'm heading towards 500 subscribers and I'm just amazed, I really am. So I think what I'll do is we'll make this journal. So my next tutorial will be putting together the papers, and then I'll do one on sewing in the signatures, and then we'll do the closure. And then, as I said earlier in the video, I will also do some prompts, journal with me prompts, just through these pandemic times. I think it would be a nice little series to run, just to do some journal prompts, and you can, you know, get some things into the health and wellness journal. So that's probably all I've got to say, guys. But yeah, as I said, thank you so much for your support. Please give me a thumbs up, like my video, subscribe if you haven't. Thank you so much if you are a subscriber. Hit that notification bell, all of that. Anyway guys, thank you so much, and I will see you in part 2. Thank you.